All right, thank you. Appreciate you, ABTF. So we are right now in the Caribbean, sailing, cruising on the largest ship in the ocean, the Oasis. Over 500 of us are having a blast with the Alliance, and those of you that are killing it here in the USA while we're out in the Caribbean, we appreciate you hammering down because we know that you're going to be on the next trip. So my name is Andy Albright. If you're brand new, we haven't met, we do this show on every Wednesday. And so 99% of the time it is live. As a matter of fact, it is live being videoed today. I am live. This is really me being videoed for you for Wednesday. And I have got about a 10, 15-minute segment here that is very important that I want to get out to you brand new people, because typically it's people that have not been with us long, because if you've been with us long, typically you would have won our trip. And I realize some of you are part-time that are watching in and maybe not have won the trip. Dadgummit, you need to be on the next one. So last year, we're in 2014, so 2013, you would have been looking at this contest page and said, am I going to win? And if you didn't win this trip, now we're in 2014, you're looking at this contest. This would be the Greek Isles cruise. Pop up, please. Yep, so right now we're in the middle of this contest. Next year, 2015, we will be going to the Greek Isles. We'll be flying to Venice, then to go to Corfu, Mykonos, Santorini, and Olympia. And this is going to be a fabulous trip. You need to win it. Okay, now I'm not going to beat you up about not being on the trip with us. Hopefully we're having a good time. Maybe you can be wishing that some of them are getting sunburned or whatever. But I am sure we're having a blast. To win with the Alliance is very simple. And a lot of people hear me saying easy because I think it is easy. If you don't do it correctly, it's very difficult. Okay? So I do segments all the time on this training on how to recruit, how to build, how to sail, with all kinds of little details. When in fact, for 13 years, we've been operating under the 8 steps of success. This is the basic stuff that we really need more people to notch it up on. Okay? So one of the things I'm asking for from our world, from our agents, is that we start training a little bit more on the 8 steps. So I want it to be more interactive. I don't need people, Brittany, I don't need them preaching at them, Joe. What I need is interaction. Find out if people understand what this means. I've recently talked to some people that are doing okay with us, and I realize they don't get how important all 8 of these steps are. It's kind of let me know how big we could get if we had all of our people, for example, in my base, in the ABTF of the Alliance, NAA's base, if we could get 22 people operating at full steam on all 8 of these subjects. Okay, so here's the interaction strategy. As a matter of fact, a couple of our groups, Chadwick Ray, that group, they've implemented this. I know that Jason and Tony on the West Coast have done this. Mike Leventovich, a lot of very profitable organizations do this. What they do is they ask their people in a very nice, non-threatening way to rank themselves in each of the 8 steps. And I would do this in my staff. I would say, all right, let's go through a ranking process. So we just go through, we're just going to rank ourselves on a 1 to 10 basis. All right, this is big. Before I do the 8 steps, I'm not going to do my ranting and raving, screaming 8 steps, but each of you need to learn this. Each of the 8 steps, I've got it flipped to the page. I think it's IX, I guess that will be page 9, Roman numerals, right? So it's in the beginning, there is an outline, and that's the 8 steps. If you've ever seen me teach the 8 steps, if I'm going to take 60 minutes to go over 8 different principles, I'll typically take 35 or 40 minutes before I get into the 8. I need for you to figure out how to sell, okay? How to sell the 8 steps, okay? It's an overview. It's an introduction. And people say, well, Andy, why do you need to sell them? Why are you selling them so hard? Why are you pushing them? Why are you trying to get me to believe in the 8 steps? Anything needs to be sold that you need for somebody to do. People say, like, if they're so good, you don't have to sell them. Okay, think about this. Have you ever noticed that beer commercials or alcohol commercials, like people like to drink, right? Then why do you have to advertise beer? If it's so good, why do you have to advertise it? Because people's attention. You can't, whatever people focus on grows. Whatever people think about is what they do. So when you're talking to a person, you got to get their attention to get on the, you can't just say, you got to listen. You got to work. You can't just throw them out there. They have to be sold. That'd be just like saying beer's available in a grocery store and not running commercial, not having the billboards. How about vacations? You see the vacation magazines, the movies. People advertise stuff to get you to do it. We have to advertise. We have to market. This is an and by the way, anything. Cars. Are cars good? I like cars. Are great. Trucks are great. Well, then why do they have to advertise them? Because people are not going. Listen to this. All right, how about this? Anything unattended will deteriorate. Anything with no attention goes backwards. That's an engineering fact. Things go backwards if they're not attended to. People will sit back and do nothing unless something greater acts on them, unless something comes into their life. So a commercial comes into your life and sells you on trucks. So you go buy a new car, sells you on vacation. Our job is get to sell people on this so that they get the success, so that they get the results of the alliance. So don't underestimate the sales strategy of it. Don't underestimate just throwing out. Don't think just throw them out. Okay, see how I ain't even got into the 8 evaluation and I'm already getting your headset, your mindset, your world set, your view, your perspective, as the noticer says. I'm trying to get your perspective right. Exercise. Good gosh, man. I mean, you know that that's something that's good for you, but goodness gracious, don't they have to advertise that? And then here's the thing. People can go outside, walk around the house, pick up a log, set it down. Pick up a log, take a tire, and turn it over, right? That'd be good exercise. But what people do is when they pay $200 for this video or they pay $100 a session for a personal trainer, now all of a sudden they're doing what they're supposed to be doing because they invested in it. So that's the mentality. We got to understand human nature. So you got to understand human nature. And I know this. If I can get you selling him, selling your downline, selling the other people in your organization, you hear yourself selling, it's coming back in your ear, and you're most likely to do the 8 steps. So my intro, what you need to think about is when you get ready to tell somebody about the 8 steps, do you just say, and here they are, or do you say to them, you say, Joe, Andy wrote a book called The 8 Steps to Sex. And let me tell you about this, right? The 8 steps, it's something he's been doing for 20-some years with his buddies. He says that anybody does it is 100% been successful. No failures. None. So what gets me, so Joe, you're talking to this guy, let's say you're talking to Hunter, you say, Hunter, what gets me is why would a person not ever do it? Hunter, could you tell me why a person wouldn't do it? And it's, you say, well, on the phone, I asked them to tell me why I wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. Just like that. Let's do it. Let's just do it real quick. Let's do Hunter. How about just tell me, Hunter, why do you think some people would not do the 8 steps once they're given, now here's another sales strategy. Once they're given the combination to the lock and inside is all the goodies, why would they not go turn the combination and get inside the goodies. Why wouldn't they do it, Hunter?
Lazy.
Lazy. Okay, could be lazy. Do you think most people are lazy?
Yes.
Okay. I don't, but that's okay.
I don't know.
You don't know? Can't think of any other reason why not. Self-image? They don't think they
maybe
deserve
they
it?
don't think that they don't think they can do it.
What else?
They don't think they deserve it. They don't feel like they don't think it's attainable.
How about don't think it's real? Like as in we open the safe and it's not really in there. So then how do we get people to know it's real? How do we get people unlazy?
You got to find what motivates them.
Find what motivates them?
Mm-hmm.
So let's use you. See how this got personal real quick? I'm getting her to do the 8 steps, but it's getting personal. And people say, like, I don't get personal in my business. Let me tell you something. You don't ever get personal in your business, you ain't ever going to get no business. It's not cold. It's not unrelated to your life. When it gets inside your heart, that's like saying I want to win a national championship in football, but I'm not going to be emotional about it. Teams that win, whether they're business teams, whether they're churches, whether they're football, ice hockey, it's personal, and it's something is motivating them. You see how I'm not into the 8 steps, but I'm already all into her. Are you? What motivates you? So then so I'm in a coaching session of here. Here's what I see that most people don't act. One, that never occurs to them that they could get the goodies inside the safe. It just doesn't occur to them. Nobody tells them, hey, listen, Joe, you turn the combination and inside there's gold bullion, donuts, pies, everything you ever dreamed of. Travel is inside here. It never occurred to them that it's behind there. It just looks like a black door with numbers on it, with a little round thing on it, right? And that's the way life is. Most people don't occur to it. Once it occurs to them, then I have to sell them that it really exists. Now, Hunter, you've seen the existence, with example, Alex Fitzgerald, Adam Katz, Stephen Davis. You've seen how they lived. You get the idea. So I'm still selling hard on the 8 steps. So I am working her to the things. Remember, why do most people not get rich? Because it never occurs to them. Number 2, they don't believe. So I'm walking her through the things that get her to take the action of the 8 steps. So I might take 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, depending on how much I like the person. Now, I will tell you this. If I think they're a lazy person, I'm not interested. So if most people are lazy, I'm looking for the few that ain't lazy. Now the question is, the ones that ain't lazy, why don't they do the 8 steps? And it comes back to, I think it hasn't occurred to them. It's uneducation. So I want to be the one that educates you and makes sure you're crystal clear. Brittany and I were talking to a guy named Bo yesterday, and I was like, Bo, I just want to make sure you understand. This is real. This is possible. We got leads. We got carriers. We got a dream. We got a desire to make a difference in people. If you choose to, you can open up this safe. We have the combination. It's called the 8 steps. So this is how hard you sell these little basics. So then, if the person's been with you a month or 2 and they go, well, I've read the book, and you say, have you read the book? And, well, if they hadn't read it, then I'm giving them a copy of it. And if you guys, matter of fact, if you're out there in Dallas, Texas, and you're in Louisiana, or you're in St. Louis, and you're selling a guy on 8 steps, if you sell him a book, write a note for him. If you give him a book, write him a note, and date it, and put your phone number in there. That way, it's a personal gift. And then hand it to him like it's very important. Not like, here's a book, because see, we add value to this. Like we add value to our house. We teach our children to respect the house, keep it clean. We add value to things because things don't have value. Like gold doesn't have a value except that we put it on it. So it's us putting value on the book and the 8 steps. So then what we want to do is, I want you, Hunter, and you, Joe, to evaluate yourself. Not if you do. Here's what most people do. When I say, do you have personal use? Have you bought your own policy? Yep, done that. Here's what they do. They do it like this. Check. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to rank yourself how good you are on believing in insurance. In other words, does your child have it? Do you have it? Do your parents have it? Does everyone you know, trust, and love and care about, is everybody in your church have it? Because that's personal. Now rank yourself. 1 to 10. 10 being there's no possible way you can name a person I know that don't have life insurance. I've got multiple policies. My children have multiple policies. I'm a 10, baby, on personal use. Rank yourself. 0, ain't got none. 1, you got 1 policy. 2, 1 to 10, rank. Not are you doing it, but how good are you doing it? What if we could get everybody to work? What's your schedule look like? There's 168 hours in a week. How much are you working? How many dials are you making? Show me your activity. Show me your activity book. What are you doing there? Rank yourself 1 to 10. Listening on audios. Listening, and what you do is you go. There's actually a workbook. You can go through this workbook and say each one of these. See what you have to do in each segment, and this is part of the audio package. So by getting the audio package, you can listen to the audio, which is listening. So you can say to people, have you ever listened to the 8 steps? Have you listened to the sales presentation? Have you went on NAAU and downloaded some of the audios? Are you listening? Rank yourself on listening. Oh, by the way, listening includes taking notes. How well do you listen? Are you attentive? Do you nod your head? Are you leaning forward? So what you're doing is quickly popping. You could do these at hot spots. You could do this on the phone with an individual who says, and somebody says, I'm struggling. What do you say to them when they're struggling? Say, well, let me tell you something about struggling. Have you heard about Andy's 8 steps? And you could go right back into this presentation if they're struggling. Somebody says, I've got to have money now. You don't understand. I'm way behind. You don't understand. I got to have $12,000 a month now. Really? Let me tell you something. And then you could go right to this and start selling the 8 steps and then say, if we could get you to a 10, a 10, and a 10, bam, problem solved. See, now what you're doing is you're quantitating what a person needs to do as opposed to going like, well, we just got to keep going and working and doing it and do it. That is very frustrating, by the way. If you are trying to accomplish something, if you're trying to lose weight and somebody says, you just got to keep doing it and trying, that's annoying because you're just like, what an idiot coaching me here. So if you're trying to help a person make money with us, with the Alliance, it's more than you just got to hang in there and just plug in and just check with your upline. And see, all those things make sense, but this is very practical and very down to earth. It's very clear on which direction we're taking. Okay? So reading, do you read 100% every single day? Do you read a little bit? Do you read 10 to 15 minutes a day? Do you skip a day? Where do you rank? Do you rank a 10? Do you rank a 2? So what you're doing is we're walking through each one of these. All, by the way, do you know what all means? Every meeting that your manager recommends you attend, are you there? Because see, what happens is we're looking for self-employed, self-motivated people that want to build. Now, I understand when people are new, they might need us to motivate them. But as soon as we can get our new person coaching on these items, as soon as I can get you coaching people the way I coach people, you hear yourself, and all of a sudden you become self-employed, you own your own business, and next thing you know is you are massive in our organization. So that is my simple little 8 steps diagram that I want to encourage you to do while we're gone. Have you seen this? Where is my, oh yeah, here we go. AmpPix.com. Is that what it is? Yeah, here we go. This is, take me to the home page. Is that going to take me to home? Nope. You should have gotten a text or an email for this website, AMPPIX, AmpPix, from AmpPix, right now you can click on Cabo San Lucas, and you will see all kinds of pictures. Here is Courtney Long, my wife Jane, Heather Fitzgerald, and Beth Katz. So you have available pictures. Now if you're at home, we are posting pictures, AmpPix, Agent Media Productions, they are posting pictures from, how do I get to, I click here, Oasis of the Seas. Right now, we've got one posted. So by the time you click on it, it should have dozens, maybe hundreds of pictures posted. I want to tell you that, so that should be available. We want you to win this trip. 30 days. There are 30 days before the leadership. From today, Wednesday, that you're looking, there's 30 days that you have available to go from you to one more person. Listen to this. That's doubling your organization. You get 2 more people, you triple. You already got 3 people going. Well, if you've got 3 people in your organization right now, let's try to double and go to 6. How simple, how simple is that? If we can get people thinking the simple numbers, most big, large companies out there, these billion-dollar companies, they're trying to go 2% and 3%. You say, that's all that's normal. Not for me. Because I'm thinking if it's just me, I'm getting one person. If it's me, you, Joe, Brandy, Hunter, Robbie, Cassie, I think we all need to try to get one more person, and let's double. So if y'all were my organization of 5 plus me, 6, I'm trying to get one more. Each one of y'all try to get one more, and let's double. So we can do that in a week. Great. Let's do that in a week, and then in 4 more weeks, let's all double again. That's how we blow this thing up exponential. That's how we mess people up on how fast this business really works, okay? So guys, listen, we've got a couple little videos coming up that are from past shows we've done. Please enjoy them, and please make it happen. We need you to become successful with the Alliance. Thank you for plugging in today. Hammer down. We love you. We will see you soon. Bye. All right, here we go. Here we go. Number 1, decide what you want, okay? Decide what you want. And a big desire. Mike and Noel, I got to get y'all come back up here. I can't not let y'all talk. You guys are down here. I want y'all up here. Decide what you want. Listen to this. How about this one? He who has a why can bear the how. See, I understand that you only have 7 months to do 100,000 points. But if you want to do it bad enough, it's not going to be a challenge. You can do it in 3 months. You've got 7. Now, when it gets down to 3 months left, it's not going to be but about one person that starts in August or September. But there's going to be one person that starts in August or September, and they're going to win the trip. Yeah, that's right. You mean you're starting now and you ain't going to win, and somebody's going to start in August? Mm-hmm. Because they want it more. Number 1, you got to decide what you want. You got to get a big desire. You got to be thinking about, if I'm going to go on that cruise, I don't care about sleep. I don't care when people are trying to pull me down. It's how you get that big and how you get that why. Number 2, you got to believe you can get it. So number 1, by the way, y'all got to go through this. White sheet of paper and write down why you want it. Write it down. You got to get that desire. Number 2, you got to, listen to this. How do you eat an elephant? 1 step at a time. So what you got to do is to believe it, get where you can believe it. What you got to start thinking is, what is the littlest thing I can do, the smallest thing you can do that can propel you toward your goal? Like, if you say, well, I'm getting my license, I'm going to have my license, my goal is to get it in 2 weeks. Your goal could be, I'm going to get it as fast as possible, but 2 weeks. And I'm not going to sleep, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to go to the bathroom. Some of those things are not going to work. I'm going to tell you what, you're going to have to back off of some of those desires. But you could say, I'm not going to be on Facebook a little bit. I'm not going to be on Twitter a little bit. I'm not going to be on Instagram a little bit. I'm not going to look, what's that one, Post It? What's the one where you're going to post all this stuff? People buy stuff off of it. All these social media things that waste your time. How about television? Now, I'm going to tell you what. There was a couple of years ago, about 20 years ago, maybe when I was a kid. Okay, but television, if you just told me I was going to have to skip television and do anything, I said, wait, what? I'm not skipping television. But you got to decide what you're willing to give up to get that desire big enough. And then you start thinking, what's the little things that I can do? What is the tiny goals that make me believe that I can do it? Now watch this. A lot of people, what can you do? Maxwell says this. A lot of people overestimate what they can do in 90 days, but they underestimate what they can do in 5 years. So, if you don't want to win the Greek cruise, you might want to figure out what we're going to do in 2016. So you say, well, I don't even want to try to win this one because I know I can't. But by next year, I'm going to win whatever cruise you do. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. I think you can win the first one, but you need to start deciding what you want. I want Mike and Noel. First of all, tell them who you are, Noel and Mike, and then talk about when you started getting this desire and started believing that you can do it. Kind of when did that happen?
We are Mike and Noel Leventovich. We were hired by Alex Abian, and we're from Louisville, Kentucky. Woo! And when did we start getting this desire? Oh, man.
We had a desire to do something big before we found the Alliance.
Yeah.
I mean, when we found the Alliance, we were looking to do something big. When we saw the Alliance, we saw that's how we can do it. And I think, Andy, that was the biggest thing, is that we finally believed when we saw the Alliance. That was the biggest thing.
And that was the thing, is we had the desire before, we had the burn.
Come here.
We just didn't.
Come here.
We weren't
Come
sure
right
how
here.
to do it
Come
until
here.
this
Stand right
point.
here. Right here.
So.
Right here. Y'all see how this line? See how this lines up? That them. That the people you got to find that has the heart and the head. They got the children, got the desire for the family, want to be buddies, want to be friends. Talk about the last time we went to the Greek Isles.
Oh my gosh! And when you were talking before about the beauty of it, it's like you just can't imagine it. So how do you tell somebody about it? But I just remember sitting on. We were in Mykonos the last time too, and sitting out on the harbor there with, Fitz and Heather and Adam and Beth, and we were just having a lunch out there, and it's just an amazing experience. But to bring people with us this time, that's what we're really fired up about. That's very exciting for us.
Who's some people that are coming on for y'all, Mike?
Gosh. One of the new people, Tracy Alvarado, was hired by Junior Korea.
Okay.
Now, Junior's 20 years old, okay?
Okay.
And he qualified to go on the cruise with us. He's taking his mom here in a week. Well, he hired Tracy. She got her license, finished her class in 3 days in November, wrote her first apps in January. And she is tracking. She's number 7 on the Elite Ladies list this year. And I think she'll have the Greek cruise locked up probably by July, or I think by July.
Yeah, one more thing for Tracy on this promotion guidelines.
Uh-huh.
She's hit every promotion along the way. Every month, every 2 months, she's hit
Every
her
2
promotion.
months, promotion. Every 2 months, promotion. Every 2 months, promotion.
She just got promoted to her 70-point contract here in May.
Woohoo!
Fired up.
And she's put about 7 people in class in the last 5 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And so she's just now starting to build and recruit and watching a couple of people come out of class. So we're fired up for her.
All right, who else?
Fired up for, let's see, Ryan and Sheree Woolley. He's got a job making good money, part-time. He's written business every week, I think 16 weeks in a row. And he's issued in the month of May, over 12,000 part-time by going out in the field 1 day a week. Every week.
What kind of job does he have? A 40-hour, 50-hour, 60-hour?
He works a good 50, 55 hours a week, from what I understand.
And then
his job.
outside of his job, knocks out $12,000 issue pay.
And they've got, I'm trying to remember now. I'm going to mess it up. I think it's 5 kids, and they're looking at a little baby in a NICU as a foster care baby right now, in case they didn't have enough to do.
Are they hiring people?
And they're hiring people. They've got a new agent starting in El Paso. Going to be there to see Gina next week.
High five him.
That's right. You high five. We got, gosh, in terms of other up-and-comers, we've got fun people. We've got people just getting started having fun. In terms of people tracking for the cruises that are on the cusp or are already almost qualified, we got Kevin and Nancy Woolley. We got Joe and Tina Dukes. I wish I could see the leaderboard. I'm forgetting names. Let's see.
I wish I had a graph of their business, how it's just steady. Didn't y'all just hit the highest volume, highest apps? What did you hit?
We had the most number of agents submitting their first applications. I think we've been averaging like 3 a week here for the last quarter.
Uh-huh.
So we've got definitely the 2020 vision has like taken root within our organization, and we've been talking about it since December, but it took off here in the last, say, 3 months, and so now we've got a lot of duplication. People.
What do you think of this new promotion opportunity?
We're fired up.
We're fired up.
Yeah, it's like, I was talking to Chris about. I think I might have had some of my footprint in it, but I like it.
You had a lot to do with it. Mike had a lot to do with it. So if you like that promotion, Mike and Noah have a lot to do with it.
So I'm excited. I can see somebody like if somebody's going to get it, and they're going to be like, okay.
So you help a guy get started, go ahead and put 10 or 12 in class. By the time he comes out, have 3 people coming out. It's 9,500 points. You're going to get promoted like this every 2 months, and you're going to go right to the top of our guidelines. And it works like this. Here's the thing. Go crazy, Russ, getting up to Master Premium, President Circle, Vice Presidents, National Manager. Let's just do National Manager, 100% contract. So let's say we get you to 100% just by following these production guidelines. Real simple. By the way, we are whosoever doeth business. Don't matter who your mom and daddy is. Don't matter your college degree. It's what you do, and it's your points based on what you put in. But let's say you hire Paul Menachino. Come here, Paul. So what's your production? What's your group's production last month?
Last month we were right at about $70,000.
Okay, $70,000. And what are you recognized at? Are you a key leader, or agency manager, district manager?
All district producer.
You are an all district producer. So he's at 85. So mathematically, if you're at 100% and he's at 85, you're making 15% on $70,000. So that's 10% would be $7,000 a month. Another $3,500, $10,500 a month that you're making off of this business because of the other people that he's hired. Now, what's your whole hierarchy do?
Right at 70.
No, I mean, how many people? How many people were writing business last month?
12 people last
So
month.
12 people, and you make $10,000 a month. So if you've hired this guy, come here, Pam. Pam Moore. Pam, what did your hierarchy do last month?
24,500.
So 24,500. So you go over there and see where she ranks on it. Where are you on it? Are you an all-district producer? Or
I'm an all-conference producer and a team builder.
So she's an all-conference producer, so she's at 80%. So you're making 20% off of 20,000. That's $4,000. So now you're at 14,000 a month because you started 2. You understand how this is working? And now if you've got, see how this is working? And you do Russ. Cuz, come up here real quick. What did you do, Cuz, last month? What's your organization do?
Right at 80,000.
So he's at 80,000. So let's just go ahead and put him at the same level right here. That's another 10,000. That gets you at 24,000 a month. Now, you can still go out there and knock out $20,000 of production. If you're a 100% contract, that gives you another $20,000. So $20,000 on top of the 24 for these 3. Andy, but how many do you have to hire to get these 3? I don't know. Maybe 103. Maybe 4. Maybe you could hire 4. One of them don't do so good, and these 3 do really good. Or you could hire 10, and these 3 do really good. My deal is I'm trying to hit a home run. I'm not worried about how many I foul off. I'm not how many times I get to bat in the major leagues. I know I got a shot to go to bat. And that means I can call up people and see if they're interested in making money. And when I found out that calling people up was free, and this old guy with about 3 teeth in South Carolina told me one day, he said, Andy, you call them up and talk to them because they can't eat you. I was like, I never even thought about them eating me. He's like, just call them up and ask them because they can't eat you. And I got to thinking about it. I was like, well, if you look at it like that, I'm going to call everybody. What does that mean? He always wore these white socks, and his pants would be up there, and the guy that hired me, he's like, who hired him? I'd say, I don't know who hired that fool. But he knows that people can't eat you if you call them up. And he'd be like, what? I said, never mind. Forget the whole thing. You got this concept. Number one. All right, y'all give these guys a hand. Thank you very much. I get people to understand how this thing works. Number one, decide what you want. Number two, believe you can do it. Let's move on to number three. I'm going to do 3 and 4 since I got them on here. We ain't going to get to 12. Number 3, write this down. The first time I heard this, man was talking in Greensboro Coliseum, 20-some thousand people. He said, a man named Habakkuk Tutu. That's what I heard him say. I heard him say, Habakkuk Tutu. We're going to do what Habakkuk Tutu says. We're going to write it down. And I was like, I wonder who this Chinese man is named Habakkuk Tutu. And I kept listening to him speak. And I said, he must have it on higher authority. And eventually, I figured out what he meant by this. What he meant in a real strong authority book called the Bible, okay? In the Bible, there is a book inside of that book, and it looks like this. Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 2. So it was Habakkuk, a book in the Bible, chapter 2, verses 2. And I was like, whoo, because I didn't know who that guy he was talking to when he said Habakkuk 2:2. In the Bible, what it said was that if you have a vision and you want to accomplish something, you write it down. So have you written down what you want? Now, when you write something down, it captivates you. It catches you emotionally, intelligently, and physically. Because you are physically writing it down. You have to think to write it down. You get fired up because you see it. It's visual, it's audio, and it's kinesthetic. And they call this psychoneuromotor something. It's crazy. People say, like, I don't know all about that. Me neither. But here's what I do know. You need to write down what you're going to do. So if you say, I have won the Greek cruise. Let's put it down. Just put that down. I am going to be an agency manager by the end of the year. You can go ahead and put down, I am an agency manager. If you will put it down, it creates all of these emotions. I'm not kidding you. That day when I wrote it down, I got so fired up because here's what I wrote down. I am going to live the life of my dreams. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to have friends in every city. I'm going to go to ball games. I'm going to sit on front row. I'm going to do what I want them to do. I'm going to have a big farm. I'm going to have kids. I'm going to have a beautiful wife. This is the way it's going to be. I started writing all this down in the book. I still got all of this stuff down in the book. And then over time, it didn't happen in 30 days. Okay? It didn't happen right then. But it started happening over time because I wrote it down. Okay? Establish a starting point. Where are you? Who are you hanging around? Who are you associating with? What is your weight right now? How much money do you have? What's the car look like? What do you got to do? What's your schedule look like? This is where it starts, guys. Where are you right now? I knew where I was. When I saw it, I was making $42,000 a year. The people I knew were broke. My family didn't want to make me do anything. They wanted me to work less. I needed to find people. There's 8 more things. There's boom, boom, boom. I can't cover them. You can't see them right now, okay? You can't. We're going to do it next week, okay? Or you can get this book right here called Goals by Brian Tracy. How to get everything you want faster than you ever thought possible. And you can start. I want to talk to you. This is what I promised to talk about. 11 reasons you will be glad you built it big. Okay? 11 reasons that big is better than small. The other thing is, I want to talk to you about how to win gracefully and then how to win awkwardly. How to get great big awkwardly, and how to get great big gracefully. Okay? This is some big stuff for you guys to know, okay? This is the real deal. All right, where's my notes? Oh, I got so many different things I want to talk about. All right. Larry, did you know this? That if this is you in life now, like this is you now, and this is the next few days of your life, this is the next few years, and this is the new few decades, you know that some people don't ever think about dying. They say it's depressing. Let me tell you something. When I die, let me ask you this, Larry. When you die, is it going to be a bad day in your life or going to be a good day in your life? What's it going to be? It's going to be a bad day. What do you think it's going to be for you, Twig? It's going to be a good day. What do you think it's going to be for you, Douglas? Dude, I'm going to tell you what. You ain't never seen what it's going to be like when I die, Bo. I'm going to tell you what. My back been killing me. It's going to be well. You go, how is that going to happen? Because I know what happens to me when I die. Okay? I know what happens to me. Everything's going to be okay. But here's what I do know. I'm going to die. It's kind of a trick question, so I don't want to mess you up with that, Larry. But, Larry, I mean, it depends, Barry. I mean, Larry, if I die in pain, it's a bad day. I'm not hoping for a plane crash. I'm just hoping, boom, yow! And people say, well, ain't your wife going to be upset? Well, she's probably going to laugh. I mean, to tell you the truth. She's going to be like, he always said he was going to go out with a boom. Wouldn't that be cool if my boy's going like, guess what? Albright got his wish. Like, I'm telling you, dude, we take off from London, the cars, the planes bouncing around like that. Everybody else is like holding on. I'm like, woohoo! It messes them up, Bo. Because, you know, what are you going to do? Now, I don't like, you know, people, if I have a choice, I'm going to fly instead of drive if I get a choice. Because you wreck. Sometimes you get your ear took off, arm took off, you're still alive. You'd be like, dadgummit, you know. That, no good. No good, right? But here's the big thing I want to ask you. And this is the truth. This is psychologically proven. This is in all the books, leadership magazines. People that think about this day right here do more right here, which is now. Think about it. Kids don't think they're going to die. They don't think it's ever going to happen. They don't exercise. They don't eat right. They party like it's 19, whatever. You know what I mean? They're crazy. They're not thinking about tomorrow. Okay? Now watch this. What was it Babe Ruth said? If I knew I was going to live this long, I'd have taken better care of myself. You don't want to get to be 50 years old and you can't walk because you ain't treated your feet or your legs or your knees or your back right. You need to think about tomorrow. People that think about tomorrow live stronger today. You with me? Think about this. Me and Adam Katz, we've been buddies for 20-some years, okay? We're just some of our best friends. Me and Alex Fitzgerald, best friends. What happens is when something bad happens, we know that tomorrow is going to happen. And that's when we're still buddies. You with me? And me and my wife, 27 years. I'm going to tell you, I want to tell you that it's just been getting better and better and better and better. But what's happened is we're still married today, but it's went like this right here. We've had some stuff. Now, that's my drawing. Now, Jane's was probably more like this right here, right? You with me? But we're still here, right? We're still, because we didn't want to say it ended. We didn't want to say we had a better deal. You say, well, whoa, Andy, somebody gets divorced. Hey, look, everybody, stuff happens. What are you going to do? Right? What are you going to do? Friendships end. But I am not going to be the reason for it. And if Jane is not the reason for it, if neither one of us quit, then we don't quit each other. But if one of us quits, I've had friends to quit on me. Does that make sense? But I can't quit on them. And friends that don't quit on me, I don't quit on them. Well, my daddy, he lived to be in his 70s. Let me tell you what. You know what he's most interested in right here? You know what he's most interested in, Twig? Do you have any idea what he's interested in? You know what he wanted to talk about and who he wanted to talk to? Is his buddies. This guy lived, we would go to Calvin's house. And Calvin, I'm not kidding you. Calvin was laying in the bed, done had both legs took off, one of his arms, and Calvin, Daddy just couldn't, he loved Calvin. That's his best buddy. And Sam McCauley. He wanted to be around his buddies of all his life, people that he built relationships with. One of the things in that book I'm reading says that relationships are everything, and everything else is just details. It's having people you can count on. When I call up, I had somebody tell me something negative, and they said, and they mentioned my buddy the Lampies, Diane and Bill, and I went, let me just tell you this, not true. I'll call her right now. I said, Diane, just want to let you make your way. She said, oh my God, I can't believe that, Andy. Let me get on that. I'll fix that. See, I didn't have to think about who she was as a person, integrity-wise. They ain't stole nothing, ain't done nobody wrong. You with me? People that think like that do more. Call this, you think about football teams. If you're going 100 yards, what do they call the 100 yards? They call it the red zone, right? Like if you get into the red zone, you got to punch it in the end zone, right? And what determines how successful they are in the red zone? It's how well they've prepared all along during the seasons. The championship teams do great in the red zone. That means when it comes crunch time, when it comes score time, they punch it in. Okay? So it's how you prepare. Now what happens is, in any life, you're going to have stuff that happens, Jane. See, here y'all are. This is where y'all are, right here. Okay? You're right here. Okay? That's how I know how y'all are. You can see it. Can they see it? That's how y'all are. Okay, this is where y'all are. What's happening here, you knew today was going to come. You knew today was going to come this day right here. You knew it because I told you about it. I said a day will come and you'll look back. Let me tell you about a day in Jane Albright's life, okay? This is before this business, but I'm building my next. It's where I met Adam Katz. It's where I met it's where I met Mark Womack. These guys I met before this business. During that time period, I've got a full-time job. Jane's got a full-time job, and we don't have a lot of money, and we're fighting to go to a meeting. And she's tired, because the reason was because we were out late the night before to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. She was very tired. We got up. She worked all day, and we needed to go to a meeting. And in the meeting, I had new recruits going to be on the front row, so we had to get to the meeting. Well, she's doing the paperwork and trying to fill it out online. And she's leaning up to the computer, and she's looking at it, and tears are dropping off of her face into the keypad, right? So I said, baby, you're crying into the keypad because you're going to move back a little bit because the tears were dropping down in there. And I said, and another thing, the dog has done threw up over there, and you know I can't get it up because I will throw up too and be twice as bad. I said, and another thing, we got people on the front row. We got to go, baby doll. And she says, well, I'm going to type this in because she had to get the order in. Now, see, what most people have done, what a lot of wives would have done, what a lot of people would do is say, I'm not going to the meeting because I'm too stressed. I'm not going to go to the meeting. I'm not going to finish the paperwork. Matter of fact, you do it. And I told her, I said, baby, just get it done. We'll get to the meeting. Let's get it done. She got it done. And right into the meeting, I said, I promise you, people are going to look at you and say, you're lucky, Jane Albright. You're lucky. You were at the right place at the right time. Right place and right time. The right place and right time is she didn't give in to what's going on right now because Jane knew this day was coming. She knew this day was coming. She knew this day was coming. She knew this day was coming. And Jane Albright got the job done. And I told her, I said, people are going to laugh at you. You're going to have a diamond about like that right there. Look like kind of like a BMW headlight right there on your finger. And diamond necklaces, and we're going to travel the world, and people are going to say that you would write, you're lucky. And she says, I might slap somebody. Right? And that's where it was this week. We were traveling around London and Ireland and all kinds of places. And what people don't understand is we didn't quit. I've been so mad at F&G Life, Fidelity and Guarantee. one of our carriers. They're not doing as great. They're a smaller carrier for us. At one time, they were our entire carrier. That was the only carrier we had. I'd be so mad at them. But rather than quit them, rather than screw them, rather than do them wrong, I'd just say, we got to figure this out. And I'd try to help them and help grow and figure it out. We got a better and better relationship with John Phelps and Bruce Parker and all the owners of that company. We become foresters. Same thing with foresters. I was so mad at them at times. But instead, I would just fight through it and say, all right, let's stay calm. We've got to work this out. We've got to draw it out. We've got to come up with another game plan. We've got to keep. I was just talking to a couple, and they were really ready to just quit their life. And I ain't sure they weren't ready to kill themselves, but they was ready to quit business. And they were just so frustrated. And I said, you got to come talk this out. You can't run. You know, you got to fight through stuff. That's how you make it happen. And it's just like what you did. You didn't just like, the leads have changed on me. You know, you wanted to say that, didn't you?
Yes.
Get the mic back up there. What did you, I mean, you want to say the leads have changed. You want to say the people have changed.
Yep.
Economy.
Yeah.
Here's what people tell me. They go like, today, young boys are mean. Back in the day, young boys were nice. I go, my mama told me about her brothers, and they'd take two cats, take their tails and tie them together in a knot and throw them over the clothesline. Y'all probably don't know what a clothesline is. Throw them over a wire and let them fight for a while. That's how mean, that's how nice they used to be. You're like, no, that ain't like that. You're like, how about it used to be with the gladiators? Were they nice? Boys fight today. They just kill each other. Have you ever heard about the gladiators? I mean, so many things. I was with a pastor. Where was I flying to? We were flying. The last meeting I went to, California. It's right before we went out. California, a big pastor, and he was traveling with me. And I said, hey, man, I read all this stuff in the Bible, how mean people were, but people tell me people mean. He said, let me tell you something. Man is bad. He's just bad. He said, you can't do nothing about it. It ain't got worse. It ain't got better. They just bad. He said, not for the grace of God. And I was like, that's what I thought. And he's like, I'm just going to tell you, I don't care what anybody tells you. So when I talk about the leads, we talk about people. Now, you say, well, economy's different and people more liberal. Have you not read the old books of everything? It's not, the more things change, the more they're exactly like it's always been. You've got to keep shaking and baking. You've got to keep moving. How about the family? Give me some of the crazy thoughts that run through your mind. Because somebody else is thinking. I want you to work with them. What kind of crazy thoughts run through your mind?
Like when I was struggling with the sales.
What kind of crazy thoughts when you were struggling?
I mean, I thought, the leads are bad. They must have changed the wording. It's my driving. I'm driving more, so I must be tired by the time I get there. Or, all these young people, right? They don't think they're going to die. And then all these old people, they don't think they're going to die. And, nobody has any money. The economy's finally, catching up, and everyone's realizing the economy's bad. And, everyone doesn't have a job. And it was everybody is this and everybody is that. And then it was like, well, it's probably just me. Yeah. But it was, my parents are getting to me more. I was like, well, it's James's fault,
Oh.
Yeah. He was so nice.
Did you hear that? My parents are finally getting to me. Like they've been talking to me, and it's finally getting inside of my head, and I can't fight it.
All my friends, like, I can't find a job, I think all those little, like everybody, then, we don't watch the news, but, you can't help but clients tell you, oh, they're doing this with healthcare, and, they're doing that, and they're taking away all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, wow. Just little by little, like every appointment, it starts like creeping in, and that's the whole, like, you got to get the bad voices out of your head, and you got to get the right voices in, and that's why every day you got to listen to something good, because 99% of all the garbage that you're listening to, and it's like, well, they're brainwashing you. That's what all my friends say. I'm like, what do you think the news does to you? What does Facebook do to you? Complaining about this baby mama and baby daddy and this person that they're not going to talk to, but they're going to blast about on Facebook, and I'm just like...
Yeah, I like that one. I'm never going to talk to this person again in my life. I'm not going to let them waste my time. I'm like, hey, idiot. Not only are they wasting your time now, They're wasting mine if I'm reading it. You go like, you're reading it. Oh, no. This has been over a year and a half ago. I was like, I just woke up one day. I go like, this is a total waste of time.
Yeah.
I'm not getting any money from this. I just said, forget this. All I find out is who hated somebody.
Right.
Jeez, now not only is he wasting your time because you're continuing to type about it, and by the way, if somebody else would post something, they'd answer it back. And then they'd post it and they'd answer it back. And listen to what they say. It only takes a second. It only takes a minute or two. It only takes a minute to call your next great leader. It takes 1 minute. What would you do to take that 1 minute of posting something on Twitter or 1 minute to call your next great leader? Which 1 minute are you going to pick? And now you say, now this is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Facebook's quadrant 4. Quadrant 2 is when you make the phone call. You say, I don't even know what you're talking about, quadrants. You know what it is, don't you? Can you tell them a little bit about quadrants?
It's in Stephen Covey's book, First Things First.
Uh-huh.
And it just talks about, the different areas that you can spend your time. And quadrant 4 is not important and it's not urgent. But so many people spend their time there. It's not important and it's not urgent. And then there's the quadrant where it's important but it's not urgent. And that's where the most successful people spend most of their time. That's where you exercise before the heart attack happens. You eat right because it's not urgent, but it's important. That's when you make the phone calls and you do that, not at 8:50 at night and you need appointments and, you have 10 minutes left to make your phone calls for the rest of, for your weekend. It's doing it before it becomes urgent. But then it's all the people who try to come in and they steal all of your time because it's urgent for them. And it's important for them because this happened and they want to answer right now.
And they will suck you over there if you ain't careful.
Right.
They'll
right.
get you in their nightmare.
Yep.
And you have to, there's another book, by the way, I hadn't told you managers, agency managers, and up-and-coming key leaders. Have you ever read this Kim Blanchard's book, The 1 Minute Manager? It's awesome. People try to put their monkey, take it off of their back and put it on your back. And they try to put a monkey on my back, so now I'll be like, no, I don't want that monkey. You know what I mean? I don't want that problem. Like, what are we going to do about Obama? I go, I don't know. What are we going to do about this, what's the guy, Karl Rove? What are we going to do about Karl Rove? I don't know. I'm going to vote. When we're going to go vote. Whenever time to vote, let me know, and I'm going to vote. That's what I'm going to do. Well, don't you get, no. I can't get involved in your problems, bro. I can't deal with all that. My mama, my daddy, my brother, I ain't got no car. We'll borrow a car, bro. I don't know. It ain't that complicated. Who am I going to borrow from? I don't know. I don't want that monkey. It's up to you to find somebody to borrow a car from. I ain't got no money to pay for the license. That ain't my monkey. That's your 1 Minute Manager. It's a great one. He's got a couple of books. It's Kim Blanchard. Have you read any of those?
Yes, sir.
Good stuff.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So here's what we call this. Ideally, you start right here. This is where you start. Ideally, you go straight to success. Here's the date you become a millionaire. Ideally, you go straight to it. Wouldn't that be awesome? Here's the way it's going to happen. You're going to find this great person, and you're going to be right up here, fired up, and they're going to quit, and you're going to be depressed. What you got to do is get back right here. So the more you can ride this line right here, the more you can ride right here, the better off you are. Call these detours. And by the way, some people get depressed, and they stay depressed. Some people get excited, and they party for 3 days, right? You're not making money when you're partying like crazy. And you say, well, some people say you got to do a celebration. We're going to do a celebration. As a matter of fact, we're getting ready to go on a Caribbean cruise. We're going to have a blast. We're going to have fun. We're going to hang out. We're going to sit around and talk. We're going to go check out the vintages, which is the wine bar. We've got an Italian restaurant. We've got a steakhouse. We're going to go to a play. We're going to have a blast. That's what we're going to celebrate. Matter of fact, we're having contests that come out to our leadership cabin. We're going to shoot some guns. We're going to do some fishing. We're going to hang out in the swimming pool. We're going to have a blast. There's fun times, but we got to get back down to it. We got to get down to it. The trick is not to fall off and not to fall off. All right? Okay. All right, so where are we? Okay, people who want to, you know what? Here's something else. Not everybody wants to live like I described. Like they want to live in that deal where you quit and you give up and you're always chasing the better deal. I had had a buddy that used to do seminars with me, and he would say to people, he said, now look, if you're the kind of person who's going to get involved but not read the books, not go to the university, what you need to do is walk right out of this conference room and go right down the hallway and get somebody else's cookies and drinks, go to somebody else's meeting, and you just need to keep jumping from deal to deal to deal. Because that's the way most people, that's the way they want to live. They want, with friends, they have no lasting relationships. You're like, who's been with you? That's some tips. Who's been with you? Have you stuck with anything? One of my problems before I did this business, I hadn't stuck with anything. The only thing I'd stuck with was Jane and friends. This is the first business I've been involved with, or job that I've been involved with for 14 years. It's been the most successful thing I've ever done because I stuck with it and made it happen. But see, here's the thing. I decided a long time ago that I was going to stick with it. I decided where I would be, making that decision where you're going to be. All right. Next, let's talk about how to get big. All right. Let's see. I had Brandy Tipton in here. How about Dan? How about Dan Sanborn? How about coming up here? Y'all give Dan a hand. Woo! Dan Sanborn. All right. All right. So, tell them who you are and who you hired by.
My name is Dan Sanborn. I was hired by Nikki McMillan, and yeah.
Good job. All right, so Dan, James and Jane they've hired a bunch of people, and one of the ones they hired was Nikki, okay? And Nikki is one of the top sales ladies in the country by far. She has had crazy successful month after month after month. She's had some terrible months, 2 or 3 in a row, got things back online, became one of the best again. Just like all of us, she's had slumps. Okay? If you're a great shooter, if you're a great passer, you're going to go through slumps. The trick is to keep going till you come out the other side. She kept the relationships with us. We stayed buddies. She dated some guy that wasn't even in close to your caliber. I don't even know why she was talking to him. But that ended, thank goodness. And then she met Dan, and y'all started dating, right? And then Dan was working as a manager.
Yes. Yeah, assistant store manager for a grocery store.
Okay. And so he gets his license and starts part-time selling, learns the system, learns how to get issue paid, and then Dan's like, I'm going to quit my job. How many hours were you working in your job?
I was salaried for 45. I was working closer to 55.
Okay. And then you were driving back and forth and this, that, and the other, and Dan's like, I'm going to quit my job. I was like, don't quit your job. All right. So, but he decided to quit anyway. That's the other thing. People say, like, well, you know, do we have to do what you say? But now, he quits his job. He's making good money. The question is, does he still make money here? How's it doing? How's it going? Are you still making money here?
Great, yeah.
How much issue paid premium are you going to do? How much are you doing a week or a month? Give me some ideas how your selling is going.
Well, April 3rd is when I went full-time, and in the month of April, I issue paid just over $12,000.
$12,000 first month. And how's May looking?
May, I issue paid $1,600 last week, and this week I submitted $4,200.
Okay. So you think you'll do more than $12,000 in May?
Planning on it.
Okay. So it might be around $12,000, $15,000. But Nikki consistently does how much issue paid?
Close to $20,000.
Close to $20,000. All right. So he's doing around $12,000 out of the gate. So you can do the math, and if you've been around a while, you can figure out the math, what kind of money he's making right out of the gate. How is your cash flow? Is it more than you as a manager, or not, or less than when you was a manager?
It's a little more.
It's a little more. So you're doing okay.
Yeah, after the lead bills are paid for and everything.
After the lead bills and everything, you're still better off than you were as a manager.
Yes.
Because I always like these people that go like, they've been with us 6 months or 9 months, and they go, I ain't making no money. I go like, he is. you know what I mean? Like they want to say you're lying. They want to say you're not making as much as you was as a manager, right?
Right.
But more than likely, it's something they're doing wrong. Okay, so here's the question. This is you. This is, in this case, this is James and Jane's group. But I want to talk to you about how to get big. Now, James, for the last year, y'all's company has been going like this right here, steady up. Was it last month the best month y'all have ever had?
Yes, sir.
And how much did y'all do?
151,000 issue paid.
Okay, 151,000 in a month. Okay, now, the ideal thing is if I have 10 people like James and Jane, then I would be doing 1.5 million a month if I just had 10 organizations like theirs. And if I average a 20% spread, so they're all at a 90% contract, they're all reached this bonus, where would a 90% be? They've already reached this bonus right here, they're district managers. A 20% spread would give me $300,000 a month in my company if I had 10 organizations like theirs. $300,000 a month. You say, did you hire them? Mm-hmm. If you have 10 of those, mm-hmm. Okay? So that you say, well, is that good, Andy? It's better than you can imagine. Like I really like it. Because some people say making money will not make you happy. I go, I was happy when I had no money. You say, are you happier? Sometimes I think yes. And sometimes I go, definitely. Most of the time I say assuredly. Very seldom have I said, since I've got money, since I'm making more, I'm miserable. That's not happened. Now, has my problems gotten bigger? Uh-huh. Is my tax bill bigger? Uh-huh. Is my staff bigger? Uh-huh. So I haven't figured out how to have a big life and not have bigger problems. But guess what happened? When we were flying back, we flew into London, and I looked out the window, and I looked, and I shook my head, and I went, I'll show y'all the picture. I'll show it to y'all later. I don't have it pulled up. I'll show you. But I was like, this guy was standing beside me. I said, is that Donald Trump's plane? He said, that's Donald Trump's plane. He said, the news said he was coming to London. I was like, he's right out, he's here. And he's like, yeah, he's here somewhere. And I was like, what if he had to get like special permission to fly his plane in there? See, you don't have to deal with hassles like that. You just play your ticket and you get on the plane and you just go through security. You go through security and empty your pockets out, take your belt off, and take your shoes off. That's a pain. I don't like it. My man had to hire. You say, well, he didn't have to fill out the paperwork. He didn't have to fill out the paperwork to get all the license to come fly his private plane in. I know. You know what he had to do? He had to hire a pilot, which, by the way, I understand this pilot's been with him 30-some years, right? He ain't firing the pilot because he's got mad. You know, it's just he's relationships. But he had to hire this guy, pay for this guy's education, and then pay for this guy to fill out. See, it's a bigger problem. You tracking on me this? Is he happier? I don't know. Ask Donald if he's happier being big. But what I'm guessing is he has to get new tires on that plane all the time. Has to check the engines on that thing. You with me? But he's living a big life. Now, so my first thing is 11 reasons to get bigger. I mean, which one you want? I like more shoes. How about that? I like traveling with my wife. I like you have 8 of your friends. There could be 8 of the reasons to get bigger because it's just you, but you got 8 of your friends to go with you on the cruise. You got your buddies to come with you. You have somebody that can come out to your house early and wake you up and make the dogs bark. Having friends. My wife's lost her brother passed away. And before he passed away, I remember he was losing his kidney, and she was like, "Could we write a check for $80,000 if my brother, could get a transplant?" I was like, "Heck yeah!" To save his life. She said, "Would we really do that?" I was like, "Yeah, we would do that." Having stuff like that, and think about my mama, who the other day she was saying, she's like, "I ain't rich," but she said, "I ain't never wanted for nothing," and knowing that if she does want something else, we can fix it, right? Like we got all kinds of monthly stuff that come to her house and make sure she's got plenty to eat and she does what she wants to do. Does that make any sense? Like those things are the reasons. I'm not doing it for the problems that I have. Because I had a real good friend the other day, who just all of a sudden decided, I guess he was jealous of me or something, and all of a sudden wanted to try to take stuff of mine. I told my wife, I was like, "Can you believe he did that?" And she was like, I'd have never thought that as much as you'd helped him the last 5 years. And I was like, wow. So I didn't get big so that that could happen. But when you got to understand that stuff like that does happen. So part of how to get big awkwardly is when people do stuff wrong, you cry. Crying's good. You cry, but then you talk to somebody and you figure out how to keep going anyway. So that's one of the first things you got to understand is bad things happen, you got to keep going. When good things happen, don't stop. Like remember my buddy that's making 200,000+, and he stops, and I'm telling him, I said, bro, don't stop, because if he stops, it's like you pedaling the bicycle up a hill, and you going up the hill, and all of a sudden you go, I'm doing this, going pretty good. Stop. You stop, try to get started back. Not so much. You're going to be running beside of it, pushing for a while, and you can't figure out what happened. What happened is you stopped. Okay, now, Andy, how do you, if this is you, all right, let's clean this up a little bit. How do you, if this is you, how do you not have bad things to people like this right here, okay? How do you keep that? What you do is people factor. If this person will, I know a guy, he said, don't worry about it the other day. One of his downlines said something to him about an application and didn't have a signature. He said, don't worry about it, I'll fix that. I'm going, the only way you can fix that is drive back out there and get them to sign it. But if you get somebody that don't leave a tip, you ever notice somebody like that? They never leave a tip at a restaurant. In other words, clues. When you see a person in your organization, when you see somebody not doing the right things, let me tell you a big one, is gratefulness. When I see Mutual of Omaha, when I see Darwin, when I talk to CFG, one of the first things I want to tell them is I appreciate what all y'all have done. You're building this company. You let us sell for you. Yes, I might want a faster pay, but I want 90% of the time I'm talking. I want to look at my watch, and I want to say 90% of the time I'm telling them how much I appreciate them and the gratitude. Not 90% of the time I'm bap, 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 bap. You with me? I want to talk about all the good things they've done. That is what you're looking for. In other words, you're looking for a good person. Like a person that, see, here's what I believe in the years. How long have we known each other, James? Mike?
It'll be 6 years this December.
See, here's what I believe. I don't think you do anything to hurt her, and I don't think she'll do anything to hurt you. It's just like when I was telling her to cut the wires, right? And she was like, I loved him then. Yeah. Clayton, you hear me? It's like she's going to do this. But people I've never known them to steal or cheat. One guy the other day, and this guy was a football player, and we had high hopes for him. He was a linebacker, played with a basketball team down east. I'm not going to say who they were, but it's east. And what it did is I took him to a hockey game, and I gave him a ticket. It was an expensive ticket. And if he comes up to me and says, I snuck by him, and you can get somebody else to use the ticket. And I was like, this guy's trouble. You with me? And sure enough, my buddy that runs the gate out there, what's his name? James here. Ryan, the guy that checks us in all the time that we know, he's a friend of mine. He comes over there and he's like, hey. And I was like, that guy. Because I knew what he was going to say. It was embarrassing to me because he comes up and says, one of your guys snuck through. And I was just like, you with me? In other words, it's a predictor of the future. And sometimes you want to think people change, okay? But if they keep doing it, you got to know that it's bad news coming. Have you seen that happen in the grocery store business?
Oh, yeah.
With new staff people?
Oh, yeah.
They come in late and they got an excuse. Then they got to leave early and they got an excuse. So what I'm telling you is to build this gracefully, don't get your hopes up on people that are not doing the right thing on a repetitive basis. All right. So to build it big, I do things like this. I was just talking to Dan about this. So here goes Dan right here. tell them some of the things. Come back to Dan. What was I asking about? How are you doing in your business? And I started nicely asking things you're doing in your business. What's some of the things that I was asking you? Do you know?
Earlier today?
This morning when we saw each other.
You're just asking how everything was going, and I brought up how right now main focus is getting better at the ERS.
What is ERS?
The emergency response system.
Tell them.
The emergency response system. My biggest problems is I don't go through the whole ATM, and I just need to take it step by step and just go through it.
Is there any way to say you used to not go through all the ATM?
Absolutely, by just making progress.
So from now on, you're going to do what?
Go through the whole ATM.
From now on, 100%, you're going to go through the whole ATM.
Okay.
Are you serious? Okay, like no problem. You will do it.
Oh yeah, we've actually been talking about it. The goal by the end of the month is the whole thing. We're taking it step by step, the ERS, and then learning.
How about on the next appointment you go through the whole thing?
Friday at 1:30.
How hard is that? How hard is that? You say, Andy, you don't really do that with people, do you? Do I do it with you? Do I do that with you?
Yeah.
I just did it with you. Do I do it with you? Yeah. Now look, here's the other thing. If you don't do it, tell him what I'll do if you don't do it. I mean, how's it react?
Be like, you'll still be nice to him, pat him on the back. Hey, we're proud of you, man. We're gonna be rich one day. Woo!
Right. But here's what a guy told me one time. Is one of my mentors, still is one of my mentors. He said, Andy, here's what happens. When people change fast, it's because they want to change. People that change slow are fighting you and fighting it. So the question is, do you want to change fast or do you want to change slow? And it's up to you. I don't care. But what I'm trying to do is I'm asking you to do, is the 8 Steps book over there? It's my 8 Steps book. Here we go. All right. Here's what I'm trying to do. Secretly, in my mind, I'm thinking, what if he's listening to everything? What if he's bought his own policy? See, what I'm doing, here's what I'm doing. I'm working through this list in my mind when I see you. You know why? Because these are 8 steps. So people say, I got 27 people, or first of all, they say, like, I hadn't hired anybody. How do you hire somebody? Well, you got to go to an activity book, and you got to start putting in activity. You cannot fail at this. I mean, I have got some friends that their personality, let's just say it's lacking. Their personality is not amazing. But they start calling people, and all of a sudden they get better, and they start hiring people. Then they say, what am I going to do with all the people I have? How do I work with them? Same way I work with them is I start going through these detailed things, and I'm saying, I'm wondering if they're doing all of the things that are in the 8 steps to this 8 steps to success. I start looking through it, and I'm asking them, like, can you tell them why ERS is important? There's somebody telling me, why is ERS important? What's so great about ERS? What is it?
Well, basically, James had to have a call with me one evening so I could understand a little better. And the biggest thing for the importance is getting in touch with the family members. So if they do die, a lot of times the families don't know who the company is with. So that way they can call us directly, and hopefully we can get the check out to them within a month.
And what benefit do we derive other than this warm feeling inside that we're going to get them the benefit if they die? Make sure that we get we know about it, and we make sure the insurance carrier writes a check. What other benefit do we get out of ERSs?
Referrals.
All right. What does referrals mean?
Free leads.
Okay. Raise your hand out there in the audience if you would like to have all free leads from here on out. Raise your hand. Okay. How would you like to have 90% free leads? Can y'all figure out the math on that? How do you get 90% free leads? Do you know how to do that? That means in every house that you go in, how many referrals do you have to get?
10.
10. So if you have 1 lead and then 10 referrals, you've got 10 times more free leads than you have paid for leads. See how that worky? So Andy, it can't be that simple. Okay, now watch this. Here's how you get big. You do the 8 steps, and you try to identify one person. People always say, I got 10 people. which one is the closest to doing this right here? Which one is the closest? And so if this person right here is the closest to doing it, what you do is you spend more time with that person, because this is the first person, James, that's going to get up to $151,000 a month. Your goal is not for you to do $151,000 in a month, but your goal is to find 10 people. See, my goal is to find 33 people that can find 10. And after 7 years, have you found one? Have you found two? You get what I'm saying, Douglas? Remember what I said? When the end in mind, when you're right here, 5 years from now, if you are going to have 10 people that are awesome, you need to start with one person that's awesome. So if you have all your people, if everybody in your group, if none of them get referrals, if none of them are coming to watching the TWC, if none of them are reading, then you don't have one. But if you have a person right here that's doing 4 items, you need to ask him and talk to him about getting to 5 items. Not mad. You need to say something like, Dan, I'm thinking you might be one of the big leaders on this company. You think that's a possibility?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, you believe it.
Yes.
Then would you be willing? So you do things. I'm gonna kind of put him on the spot. You have any idea how many NA university courses you've been through?
0.
Okay.
I'm being honest.
Let me be honest with you. I think you need to take a class. It's free. Would you take one tonight? Would you do tonight, work on an NAA university class?
Yes.
Okay, so how do you get people to do stuff, Andy? I go like this. I go, would you please? So you don't just ask people, please, do you? Yep, sure do. How many times have I done that to you, James?
I can't count how many times. I don't know.
And these are some of one of the most awesome couples I've ever met. Michelle, one of the most awesome couples. You know why? Because I've spent time. Now, watch this. I'm going to draw this one green, because Billy hates it when I do green. This one right here, I poured and poured and poured in talk to him, and he didn't have any integrity, but he was selling a lot. It wasn't good quality. His placement was bad. Generally a bad person. But I kept thinking I could change him. Let me tell you something. When my daughter comes to me with some low-down, no-good-for-nothing piece of trash boy and says, I think I'm going to change him, I'm going to say, please, darling, you can't change him. Find me a good one. So my goal is that she hangs around better people. That's why I sold her heavy on NC State. I wanted her to go to college bound. And then she was dating this guy that we didn't have a real problem with. If he's looking, hey, I like you. But he just wasn't real ambitious, you know. And then now she's belongs to this sorority, Chi Omega. So I'm increasing. I can't guarantee, but I can improve my odds. You with me? Whoever in your business you're working with, you got to improve your odds. See, we love Nikki. We love Nikki. So if Nikki says you're good, and then they say you're good, and then my staff says you're good, I start saying you're good. You say, wait a minute, Andy, this is like an interview process that don't never end. That's the way life is. You're always going to be tested. I was reading something. I reminded Jane about something Tim Godey said. He said, listen, guys, rubber bands stretch. And whenever something bad happens to us, it stretches us. And what do rubber bands do? They hold things together. So the more we stretched, the more, once we recover, we can hold a bigger organization together. So the detours we hate, we're going to have subtraction. We're going to have things bad. You're going to have things happen to you. But what you got to do is you got to fight through it. It can't be all sunshine. You got to have some rain to make the flowers grow. That's just part of the program. That's the way it's going to work. So you're going to. So I'm telling him bad stuff, dude. I cannot believe, like, dude, do you feel bad about knowing NA University is just free and everything? How much work we put into those things? Now, see, I haven't quit selling him. I'm selling him. I'm right back around to selling him because I'm thinking that you are one of our top guys. So how long have you been with us now, Dan?
I sold my first policy in January.
In January. So he's been around 4 or 5 months. So I've got to start getting him up to speed. I got to start getting Nikki up to speed. I'm working real hard with Dave and Michelle right now. There's people. Hello. What I'm trying to do now is identify the right people. Who's a good person? Who's a person that wants to go from where you are to 250,000 to 750,000 to $1 million, and who out there that's hovering? I got a handful of them that are hovering around 600 to $1 million. How many of you want to go to 2? Because I'm ready. I need more of the right people. Powerful. Guys, we are really going to roll out ALA USA strong when we do that. You know, people say, what's the best thing about Life USA, Alliance Life USA? Our logo is awesome. That's what I'm going to tell you what, man. Can you see anything I might like about it? Woo! You know what I'm saying? So we have a special treat that I'm going to get to come up here and help us introduce what we're going to be talking about from now until July. But July, I promise you, it's going to be getting crazy. Now we're just going like, we got the company, we pulled it off, we did it. So let's get him up. Would y'all scream and yell for Jim Henson? Bring him up. Woohoo!
Hey, man.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm fired up.
Me too. It's on. It don't have to be loud on.
It doesn't have to be loud?
No.
Can you hear me okay? Yes. Well, I'm fired up. I tell you what. You know what I love about this logo more than anything else? Well, it's not that I'm the president of it, but...
Look at here.
Oh, I love this too. But this is what I really like. You. Because it's all about you. And that's what makes it work. And, you know, we've already started receiving business. And what's amazing on the business that we've received so far is that it's averaging about 3 times the average premium of our regular business. That's pretty exciting. So it's just going great. But, you know, you're talking about all the things coming up for leadership and these breakout sessions and already see people signing up. No other organization in this country does the planning and the design and to give you the tools that the Alliance does. It's just amazing. I don't know. You can't possibly imagine how much time and planning and preparation that Andy Albright and his team does. I mean, I'm just overwhelmed by it, how much you do. It's just amazing. I mean, the man, he only sleeps an hour and a half a day. Is that right? Now, you're supposed to laugh, you know, when it's funny. Anyway, he only sleeps an hour and a half a day, and he's always working, and he just has built so many people, and they all have their part of our pie, and that's just great. And we do have a new carrier coming. Yeah, we have a new guarantee issue coming. It's a National Guardian Life, and they're going to have 2 products, actually. One's a single premium product, and the other one's just a guarantee issue product. It's going to be a little more comp than what we have now for guarantee issue for everybody. And it's already approved in 47 states. Okay, so, and we have actually a meeting this afternoon. He mentioned that Phoenix is coming in, and we have a new term product that's going to have some great living benefit riders for not only just accelerated death benefit, but critical illness and chronic illness with like a 95% payout. You all helped name the product. Remember, we sent out the thing, and you came back, and the #1 name was Safe Harbor, and that's the name of the NAA product, Safe Harbor. So I'm real fired up. It just keeps getting better and better, and like Andy said, if you haven't been part of the Alliance before, that's okay, because right now is the right time. It's just going to be better and better.
Okay, hold on. I still got more for Alliance Life USA. Do we have the first person? Did we figure out who is the? Travis Smith is our first issue paid policy. We opened the company on April the 16th was my birthday when I turned 50, and we had our first policy issued on April the 16th by Travis Smith, and it was it looks like one, I'm not sure if that's one big policy, but $4,867.
It was one.
One big policy, $4,867 premium. So we were open for business in the first day, and we issued policies on the first day. How about that?
Right.
So that's good stuff. Now, I want to tell y'all this. Y'all, this is a fast, amusing story. A little bit. We actually got the LLC and the name for the company about 4 months ago, and with 1 week we had our first death claim in Alliance Life, which was interesting because we ain't issued no policies. We kind of went negative there for a little bit. Our heart was beating, like, whoa, who wrote a policy? Apparently there was a company named Alliance Life in 1946, and somebody had
so they
bought
sent
a
us
policy.
they sent us a death claim. Yeah, and we had just formed a company, but.
And so we forwarded it on to the company that now owns.
Right.
So Travis Smith, you need to take good care of this man, whoever you wrote up, a woman. I'm going to tell you what, you better get him some Cheerios or something. So, okay. Also, we have, I don't want to put you on the spot reading. I want you to read names, but some of these names, Sarge Wilson, Rob Wilson has already submitted 4 applications for Alliance Life USA. Karen Musel has already put in 2, and 1 app has been submitted by Alba Escobar, Bryant Marshall, Denise Paradis, Minnie Titus Glover, Richard Bowery, Ryan Rukuski, Travis Smith, and Virginia Anderson have all issued paid policies with the Alliance Life USA. And we're not like, see, the way this works, to be clear, there's no large advances at all. This is renewals for the life of the policy. Now, if it's a 20-year policy, the life is 20 years. It can go longer, but typically you don't think they're going to go longer. 30 years, a 30-year life, so you get your renewals for 30 years. If it's a whole life or a final expense, it just keeps going. Okay, as long as they're paying, as long as they're alive, they're paying a renewal on this policy. So it's a way to layer your renewals, a type of retirement, a type of 401k, because if you put, typically, if a policy, typically, I'm just going to tell you real brief. I'm not going to try to, you did diagrams, we're going to explain all of that over time. That's why we're not pushing it real hard. But typically, if you were going to make $800 on a policy immediately, typically, like with Mutual Omaha or Foresters, you're going to make $800 over about 7 years. So it's taken 7 times as long. You say, that's bad. Except for the next 7 years, which is where you get it up to close to 16. It'll be over 1,600. You see what I'm saying? So what about the next 7? Well, now you're at 2,400. So it's just staying on the books. With time, it just keeps going in. Does that make sense? Okay, so it's very, very simple, very, very clear, very just no tricks or windows. It's just boom, 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 boom. Good enough?
It's amazing because you get those renewals, like you said, over all those years, but then you get the additional payout from the Alliance Life Insurance Company. And it's, so if you want to make 2 times, you want to make 3 times, because you all know you have to go out every day and you got to sell new, okay, because there's not really something on the back end. This is the way for you to leave a legacy and to build something great for yourself on the back end.
So it's, you can't go wrong with it, but you got to understand, if you need the money now, don't put it over there. You're not getting your advance. But if you can write an extra policy and slide it over there, you with me? You put 80%, 90%, 99% where you get advances, or 60% where you get advances, and then slide business over there. Now, you say, should I put my great business or my good business or my bad business with Alliance Life USA?
I have the answer.
Think it through, think it through, think it through, think it through.
It's your great business.
We told the carriers we would be fair and give them all of it after we got the best. Yeah. So, all right, so check this. Right now, what we're doing, we said we're not going to do something crazy. We're not going to push hard at all. We told the managers. I spent time with the Inner Circle up in Detroit. We said, here's what we're going to do. Everybody that plays 1 application in between now and the leadership in July, we're going to have awesome T-shirts. Do we have a picture of the T-shirt? I know it's going to have this logo on it.
It's going
no, it's going to have this logo.
It's this logo.
This logo on the back, and Billy might be pulling it up, and another, and then the Alliance Life USA Here we go, on the shirt right here. Okay, so that's the first thing. The other thing is every policy, so it's not a big deal, but we're saying you jumped in. Thank you very much for putting a little something over there. You'll get a lottery ticket, and we'll draw lottery tickets, and I'll tell you, we'll be smart about it. We ain't going to draw them on stage. You got to be here, so we'll run a tab of who's here. We'll pull the lottery, and then we'll do the recognition. But it's going to go like this. For each policy you do, it's one ticket. So if it's 2 tickets, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so you have more chances to win. We'll draw it out. There are going to be 25 third-place winners. And the third-place winner is going to get this right here. If you'll hold that. Matter of fact, Blake, how about coming up here, buddy? This is Cuz. This is Russell Everett's son, Blake, who's come on strong lately, so I'll let you hold those up. So this will come up, and that is you'll get the ALUSA poster. So this poster right here, you can hold that too. You get the ALUSA poster. You'll get an ALUSA T-shirt, the 5 of our best-selling audios, the 8 Steps book signed, Millionaire Maker signed, and 10 NAA University vouchers. Okay, so a lot of little fun stuff going on. Okay, you can hand me this one back. And then, so there's 25 that'll win at that level. And then there are, holy cow, wait, this one's a little bit different. There are 10 winners at the second place level. That'll include the poster, the shirt, 10 sellers, the multimedia, the Millionaire Maker, 20 vouchers, and an ALUSA iPad cover for second place. And then, so there's 10 of those, and then there's going to be 3 third places, and 3 first places, 3 first place, my fault, 3 first. And that one is going to be interesting because we're working on a leadership cabin out in Caswell County. We call it the cabin. It'll sleep 20 people. It's a 3-acre pond, 4-wheeling, skeet shooting, pistol shooting, rifle shooting. I'm about ready to break out into my Ric Flair thing. Bow and arrow, fishing, just a lot of fun, a fire pit, swimming pool, all kinds of stuff. We're going to do 3 drawings for 3 days, 3 days, 4 nights. Is that right? 2 nights, 3 days, 2 nights, 3 days out at the leadership cabin, and we'll have an event out there, so you'll be one of the first in there, so 3 people will win that. So that'll be first place. All right, if you put that back for me. So those are available. We'll do that. That'll be fun at leadership. And guys, the other biggest thing, I just want y'all to know that I couldn't do this. I say this a lot. We are imperfect people. We mess up left and right, okay? Now, the good news for y'all is we are looking for people like us, which is imperfect people, okay? But we are looking for people with the right values. We've listed out our values. I'm going to read it real fast, but we want people that strive for excellence. That means no shortcutting. That's why stuff's first class. We believe in service. That means you go the extra mile. Integrity means you do things right. Signatures right. T's crossed, I's dotted. We do things right. Integrity. Accountability. You stand up and take responsibility for what you do. The buck stops here. Respect. We want to respect people because everybody's somebody. And compassion, which is the part we will fight for each other. We fight for our fellow team members, community. We help people. That's why we hot spots. It's way different than anybody else in the world. And then gratitude. We appreciate what we got. We don't go like, thank you for my sweet. Is there any way I can get butler service? Is there any way I can get this? And then when hey, Bo, let's be grateful for what we got and thrilled over it. If they have a butler with your suite, awesome. But if they don't be ungrateful. Just don't do that. And then people hit me and well, it don't hurt to ask. I go, it don't hurt to ask. That's like trying to find out something. That's not like, can I have a favor, just me, don't tell nobody. That's a different kind of, it does hurt to ask. The rule is that you try to find and learn stuff. There's no dumb questions when you're trying to learn. There are dumb questions, okay? Now, whoever told you that is like some other things, like when your mama said don't pick it. Sometimes you need to pick it. You know what I mean? It's like some of them rules you heard when you was a kid didn't come from the Bible. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody all right?
I'm okay.
All right, so We're looking for we mess up. But let me tell you what. Every once in a while, we get stuff right. Jim Henson was a chief marketing officer and senior vice president of Shenandoah Life. He took that company from selling like $10 million to $200 million. And I think the low number might not have been far off, but I know he took it to $200 million.
11 to 200.
$11 million a year to $200 million. Chief marketing officer. Was you there 13 years or 11?
10.
10 years. And that's where Gina Hawks worked for Jim. And we sold for Shenandoah Life until they were eventually bought out by another company, and they're kind of going back in business. We don't know if we ever do business with them, but when he retired before it was bought out, before all that stuff went down, and it's 1 year when his non-compete, he waited, abided by every rule he signed. You know, people are like, well, when I signed it, I wasn't thinking that I didn't want to sign it. You're the fool that signed it. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, whether it be a mortgage note, whether it be a credit card application, stand up. You know, Jim stood up, did everything like he's supposed to do. But the day it ended, that's when he came to work with us. And he has been consulting with us, and he has been the one that's put together Mutual Omaha. I told no. And now it is like some of my absolute best friends in the world. Me and him are going to hang out with them next week. And we're going to do some crazy stuff hanging out with them.
In Ireland.
So they're good people, but he's put this together. So if everybody in the United States, along with here, can y'all stand up and clap for Jim Henson for what he's put together with CFG? Yeah, baby.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. All right. Jim Henson, guys. Hey guys, Andy Albright hanging out on the world's largest cruise ship. And you know what? It's got everything you could dream of. Swimming pool, people, music, having a blast. You know the only thing that would make this better? Shopping in Central Park. So many shops, so many boutiques, you could get lost. But you know the only thing that would make it better? High class, high energy, professional shows every night. Best seats in the house. The only thing that would make this better? The aroma of high class dining. Incredible service, and on top of that, all you can eat. But you know what would really make this better? Sharing it with your best friends in the world. All expense paid, it's all here. You know what would make this better? You. Join us again. Join the Alliance for another once-in-a-lifetime all expense paid trip.